Walsden, send more house to save the house. Come on, the house!
Thank you to our four sponsors for supporting our podcast: Johnny Russell's Art Caterers and Middleton Pies, Alexander Grace Law, Kezs and Lisa's Spoonful of Sweets, and SPE Furnishings. Links to their websites are available in the show notes and on our website. Don't forget to subscribe to get all the latest episodes as soon as they're released.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Housecast, Lowerhouse Cricket Club's podcast. Fantastic rainy day today, or this evening. Nothing going on down the club. All the games have been called off this evening, but I'm sure the weather's going to get better as we go into August. Thanks for listening. Once again, with no special guests on as such. We've got the normal co-hosts who come on this every fortnight just to talk about the game. So I'll welcome Joe Martin. Good evening, Joe. How's things?
Very well, thank you, Kezs. How are you?
Yeah, right, fine and dandy, thank you. Yeah, I've had a half-decent week, just pottering around. What about yourself? I see you're in the Joe Martin room.
I'm in the Joe Martin suite, as ever.
Yeah.
No, it's been a busy week. I started a new job this week, so it's been very busy, very hectic.
All right, good. How's it going? Settling in all right?
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, really good, thank you.
That's good. Yeah, you're looking great. We had a good catch-up on Sunday as well.
Yeah.
Also with us, we've got Joe Beneducci. How's it going, Dooch?
Great, thank you, Kezs. Very good.
Yeah.
Just had sticky
You're all right.
custard. So all's well in the world.
Yeah, you look like you sat back on that chair. You look like
And on a Thursday night. Wow, having a pudding on a Thursday night.
We ain't running in the morning, don't worry, Joe. We'll be running it off tomorrow. We'll get straight into to the news for the last fortnight or so, just to talk about the games that the club have played in and how things have gone. We'll get contributions from Joe Martin and Dooch and see how we go from there. So we'll start with the game last Sunday, I think. Walsden away, lost by 98 runs. I think the three of us watched most of it or played in most of it, which were Joe Martin. Very disappointing from my side. I thought they batted well early on. I thought they handled the game well and got to a total, but I still think we could get it. Joe Martin, do you want to give us your rundown of the game, how you saw it, and a few of the highlights and scores?
Yeah, I think so. So to begin with, I actually don't think we bowled that badly. It's a very small ground, and some of their hits on other grounds, I think potentially would have been chances. For us to take. But on that small ground, their first 110 runs, 120 runs, there wasn't a chance to hand or anything like that. Hawkey bowled really well first up in really difficult conditions. Francois struggled with the pitch because his foot was moving when he was landing and that sort of thing. You'll know what it's like, Jess. It's going to be tricky sometimes. So it was really tough bowling conditions, but they batted really well. We took all our catches, and they managed to get 240, which seems a lot, but on there it's I don't think it's. Pardon?
We didn't take all our catches.
Did we not?
No. Toxie dropped one, didn't he?
Oh yeah, my bad. Sorry, but 240 on there, I think, is very chaseable. But we just collapsed again. I think it's actually quite telling the number of times that we played Walsden now and how similar the scores have been. So the number of times they've got over 200 and we've been bowled out for less than 150, maybe even 140 sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Probably there might be nothing to read into it, but I just think it's a little bit odd that with a team like ours, we don't seem to be able to quite just push them a little bit more.
Yeah. And you think that's just Walsden, or do you think, again, I agree, me and Dooch were sat together at one stage, we were thinking 280.
Yeah.
We'd have settled for 250 early on, and then you fought back. I think the opening batters batted very well. I think 420 on.
Yeah, they batted
then
really
they fought back really well, and they didn't look like they were going to get 210. But that happens on a small ground, and a few wickets in the tent, and they got to that score. But I just felt, was nothing short of a bit ridiculous, if you don't mind me saying. I'm not suggesting on your part. I mean, for the club. And then we just didn't seem to have plans in place of how we could rebuild. Am I being harsh?
I don't think so. I mean, I think potentially we could. I honestly don't really know. It was.
You're going to chase 240. A lot has to go your way, doesn't it? You can't make mistakes chasing 240. I know what you're saying about plans and stuff like that, but if you lose 3 wickets early on in different circumstances, you're always going to struggle, I think, chasing 240.
Yeah,
I mean, the pitch, they're a good side, that opening bowler from our end. Bowl well, there's good line, he was bowling at some decent pace and we're causing some trouble. But Ben and Johnny have got in and got, recovered a little bit from there. But I just think we're losing wickets. And I hear what you say, Dooch, and that's the great game that cricket is. You can have different thoughts about it. 240 on there is probably a 210 on our pitch. I know they know the pitch better, but the batters we've got, I'm not having the fact that they're not good enough to to get that score. Yeah, and I'm not saying 5 times out of 10. But to 10, they would get that score aside. But we just never look like it. But that's the way I was into it. We don't want to be doom and gloom around it all. Was there anything else, Dooch, that you could comment on around the game, the way it fizzled?
Well, I think it was obviously looking at the way their pro ball. It was obviously spinning. Obviously difficult to see from where we were. Did it spin more later on than it did early on? Possibly wet early. So maybe we got a little bit of the mucky end of the stick a little bit there. I'm not saying that's why we lost, because obviously we were comfortably beaten. But the thing that struck me, that's the first time I've watched them on their ground. Me and Kezs were talking. We both played there in early 2000s in an interleague game, but obviously that's a different completely. But this team, that's the first time I watched them play on their own wicket, on their own ground, and they obviously play their own ground very, very well. Short square of the wicket. They have a lot of lads who are comfortable hitting wicket. And Joe, you mentioned earlier, would a couple of those have been chances on a slightly bigger ground? Well, yeah, it would, but fair play to them for
absolutely
exploiting their own conditions. And I think the impression of the game was they do that very well. They're aggressive. They hit to the short parts of the ground, and it's difficult to defend.
Yeah, it is. Joe, when Dooch were talking that through when they were batting, and it amazed me really. I've played all these years, and it didn't jump out to me as much as that is. You look at Johnny Whitehead and Ben; they're prolific down the ground.
Mm-hmm.
They're such good straight players. You can cut. You play dead straight and everything, but there's probably only Dean who is more of an offside and a leg side player as opposed to down the ground. Whereas every one of their players were comfortable, and it must be the ground you brought up on and the way you play cricket. That's what you do. We are a little bit shorter in length, but we've got a big wide ground. It did interest me that when Dukes were telling me on Sunday.
Yeah, well, that's been said a few times to me.
What are you short in length?
Height. I think that's actually quite a good point, Kezs, actually, is that when it seems sometimes like we really want to try and hit square of the wicket and try and exploit the boundaries, and this isn't an excuse for anything, but it's not quite how we usually play. It's not quite in our game.
No, I agree.
And then when we're sort of expected to do it, and people say, how many times do people say, well, they didn't use a short boundary very well.
Yeah.
And you think, well, it's
difficult.
It is. Absolutely. Yeah. I only face 6 balls or so before I run out. Maybe not even that many, actually. But I'm not going to start, just because there's a short boundary on one side, I'm probably not going to be able to start slog sweeping it for 6 or 4 or, whatever. I can try, but I don't think I'll be terribly successful.
No.
So I think that maybe we just need to think a little bit more about what our strengths are, because I think sometimes we can be caught in the middle of those two things where, and
and then
sometimes
you get caught, you're out.
Yeah, I sometimes wonder whether we'd be better, because I think sometimes we can. I don't know how sort of aggressively you think we played on Sunday when we were batting, but I don't know whether sometimes it'd be worth being 130 all out, trying to go for it, I guess, and trying to hit the ball out of the ground rather than trying to dig in as we would and try and bat properly.
Yeah.
I don't know whether
that's where my little gripe about plans come from, because I think Ben and Johnny were taking the game to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know this hassle, there's a bit of animosity from their players towards Ben, and that seems to bubble up. Ben handles it very well, and sometimes it enhances his game. But I think we were doing that, when we were 1 wicket down. But then all of a sudden Johnny gets out, and then Ben gets out, and then you're right what you say. We're in between. Do we just try and bat the next 10 overs and get up to 6 and over, 7 and over, or do we just play positively? It's a big call, and even the pro sides can't get it right, can they?
It's very difficult. But not to worry.
And the other thing is as well, they know that their pro is going to bowl the last 15 from
Yeah.
I think that probably factors in to the way they earlier on in the game.
Yeah.
Because if he's going to bowl it last 15 from one end.
Yeah. No, it is. It's right. It's difficult, and they are a good side, and that's why they're top of the league. So let's see how that progresses. So let's go back a week to some really good news. A good win at Middleton. We won by 41 runs, I think it was, with some good performances all around. Joe Martin, how did that game go? Do you want to talk us through that as a player?
Yeah, we had a sub-pro in for the day, Akbar, who is a very good player, and we actually started really well. I think it was a bit of a green wicket, and the ball was doing a little bit early on, but I think me and Ben put on probably, I don't know,
60.
50 or 60. So it was a good start. And we were just sort of getting on top of them. We just played well. Johnny came in and he played brilliantly. It was effortless how he was batting. Imperious, one might say, actually, because he just didn't look in any trouble at all, and got 40 odd off, probably the same amount of balls, I would say, going to run a ball at least. And played very well, and Akbar did the same, and we just had a lot of momentum going through, and we managed to get to...
I think it's fair to say, Joe, the plan there was really quite good. You got a fantastic 70, and people bat around you. That's a basic plan, isn't it, of when you bat first, of how you do that, and it sounded like it worked fantastic well. Those other players can do that when you're the anchor role for it. So what did we end up getting?
So I think we ended up getting 268 or something like that. Yeah. And actually it was quite interesting, really, because earlier in the season we got 250 when we probably should have got 270, 280. So it was quite interesting watching how the game would unfold, to be honest with you, after that.
And then we bowled very well early on, I believe. It was just a case of their pro. But the result was between their pro and us, I guess.
Yeah, he's a very good player. And again, probably his 80 runs. I don't think there was a chance, I would say. And he's a very, very good player. Knows his strengths and hits all around the wicket. But Toxie managed to cramp him up a little bit, and he chopped on. So it was a good. It was a good weekend. And after that, it was a case of making sure that we bowled well and bowled them out, because they can always get runs quickly at Lowerhouse.
Of course they can. Yeah, but again, Joe, it's one of those, and we've all played in them. You go back whenever. Getting the wickets is important, but dot balls, when you've got a score like that, if you can generate a few dot balls together in an over and only go for 3 in an over, then someone goes for 4, and then it really does make pressure, certainly on amateurs and the pro. I think there's a run rate is getting up to 6, 7, 8 and over, and he's losing wickets at the other end. It's not easy for him either.
No, definitely not. Francois bowled really well. I think he took 6 wickets. He bowled really well.
Brilliant. So that was a great win, and with 12 points, he would bowl them out. Yeah. So with 12 points from that, so a fantastic win. We all know the cup final's coming up a weekend after next. But in the meantime, we've got other bits and bats of news to speak about, and as everyone's aware, that the Housecast won an award, a monthly award for services to the community and to keep people's spirits up, and the way that that COVID's gone is it's a real honour that we've won this award. So we are thinking, we have been given a few accolades. We've got a trophy that was presented to Joe and Adam, got a presentation to go to, but we've also got a game at Lancashire Cricket Club that we can go and watch, and there's a room in the Hilton with a balcony, etc., etc. So unfortunately, a lot of the Housecast members are unavailable to go for one reason or other. Joe Beneducci's going to come along. I'm available to stop over and to go into the Hilton for the day, watch the cricket and stop overnight and have a few beers, but there's one space spare. So we are thinking of having a bit of a draw for the extra space. Joe Martin can't come because he's washing his hair. Gary lives too far away, and Adam can't make it. So we've got a draw for who else can come. So what the idea is, we're going to have a draw to see who the other guest is that's going to come along to this fantastic day out. It's a week on Thursday. Sorry, it's a week today at Lancs Cricket. So Joe Martin's got his balls out. He's got a random ball generator where he's going to generate some numbers for of all the guests that have been on the Housecast. They've all got an independent number, and Joe's going to give me a number, and then I'm going to find out who the guest is. So Joe, go on, shake your balls up.
Okay. And it's number 18, Jez.
Number 18, let's have a look. Number 18 is Katie Hazard.
Oh, excellent. Excellent.
That's handy, isn't it? I tell you what, we can't fiddle it. We can't pretend it uncanned. Dooch, will you just send Matt Stanley a message and see what his thoughts are about flying Curtie over?
I'll go on mute and I'll ring him now.
Yeah, all right, that'd be good. So
at least he'll be able to quarantine in that room, Jess.
Yes, of course. So yeah, we'll be able to stop in there, me and Curtie, for a fortnight. That'd be useful. So yeah, for those people who don't know, it's a real honour that Lancs have done this for us and have said that we've contributed to the community, and we're really pleased. The club have got some money on the back of it as well, and I'm sure that all the listeners and the people who've subscribed have helped us get this award. So that's good. So anyway, Dooch, you're back in. What's Stanley say?
Stanley says he don't think we'll be able to get him in because of the Lancashire League rule about having overseas players here. It might raise an alarm that if we try and bring a second overseas in. So
yeah,
we can't do it. But I think that's probably just the smoke screen. You don't want to pay for it really. So unfortunately, Curtie looks like a non-starter. So have you got a reserve list?
Well, we'll just get Joe to randomly shake his balls up again.
What if it's Ryan Harris or Andrew McDonald?
Well, I'm sure Stanley would pay for them to come over.
Redrawn, and it's number 32.
32. Oh my goodness! Look, it's Gav Shields.
Oh,
who good's that? Shields. Oh right, we need to get him on. Let's see if we can get Shields on to dial in. No, give over. Get Shields on. But let's see. Do you just get him to come in to see if he's available or whatever?
I'll get hold of him now. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I'll just tell him to join the call. He don't know why he's joining the call. I'll just tell him to join it. He don't know why.
Yeah, just tell him to join it if he's available. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So whilst we're waiting for Dooch to see if Gav's around at all, just a few things from the Lancashire League from the website. What's your thoughts on that, Joe Martin, that Smith's not coming back next year?
Well, it's good for us.
When you have a minute.
It's good for us, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I think so. I mean, it's really just filling a bit of a gap. But
yeah,
when you look at, have you seen these figures?
Yeah, they're incredible. Yeah.
Seriously. 378 runs at 74.29. This is just for Rami. And 289 wickets at 8.8.
Mm-hmm. He's very,
It's no wonder they were such a powerful side, weren't they, when they got a pro like that.
I think we talked about it last year, but at one stage or another, we had no idea how we were going to get it out.
No.
And no idea. He had plans and stuff for where we wanted to bowl to him and stuff, but no idea.
And he just never did it.
Yeah.
No, we never managed it. And we weren't the only club, were they? His quality,
Yeah.
So let's see how Rami go on. They've struggled this year.
He's played 2 games for Lowerhouse, Kezs. Do you know that?
I do remember he was sub-pro, weren't you? A lovely lad, apparently.
He did very well as well.
In 2009, and then again more recently in 2018, and in 2008, 138.
Yeah.
Right.
2009, did he get 80 odd?
I think he got 70 odd, in 2009.
And 2 wickets as well.
Yeah, it's outstanding. So that's a bit of news from the Lancashire League. There's other bits and bats we want to talk about afterwards, but I think Joe Martin, is that Gav trying to get in?
Yeah.
All right, just let him in.
Is he?
All right, Shields. I'm
a little bit nervous as to why I'm being dragged on here, to be honest.
You don't need to be. Yeah, you don't need to be, Gav. Your podcast went down very well, and we have a laugh and a joke, but we're not piss takers, right? We've had. I don't know if you're aware, we won an award for the podcast and for the community, etc. And there's a spare place. As a result, they're giving us a hotel room, but we have to do some live broadcasting, watching a Lancashire game. But it's next week, next Thursday, and your name's come out. Are you available to come?
I'll get in touch with Matt Stanley, see if I can get days off, and I've got holidays, so yeah, that'd be great. I can't believe I've won that.
Fantastic. Yeah, so it's next Thursday.
Is it 100 game, Kezs? I've been watching the 100. It's been brilliant, hasn't it? No. Absolutely smashing.
I think it's great. It's a great competition. Have you been watching?
I have, yeah. I've got it on now, yeah.
Great,
it's very enjoyable. It's not 100 game. It's one of them Royal London 50 over game next Thursday.
Oh, right. Did you watch the game last night?
I didn't know.
Yeah.
It were absolutely brilliant. I think it was Oval Invincibles, weren't it, against I can't remember, Birmingham Phoenix maybe. And Moeen Ali was absolutely brilliant. Unbelievable. Just kept smashing it. He pulled this ball and it went like flat 6. It was proper.
Flat 6. I think these two are taking the mickey. Gav, I take it you don't like the 100?
Not particularly, no.
No,
I'm just laughing. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, no. Good scheming, that, gents. Yeah, very good. Very good.
So anyway, back. So next Thursday, Gav, you are available.
Yeah.
If we can see if we can get you off that, we'll have. We'll maybe meet up for breakfast somewhere.
Somewhere usually.
We'll have. That's right. Yeah. And quite a bit of water, obviously, and then milk to line our tummies.
Of course, because we're sensible.
Exactly, and then we'll get there for 10:30 or 11, have a full day out. Dukes, you coming over, or are you?
I am, yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, that'd
are you
be
staying
ideal.
Over?
No, I'm golfing day after, so I'm,
got an early start, so that's why this.
Yeah, it's quite far away.
So that's why we've got this vacancy, and hopefully Kirsty Hazard came out before you, Gav, but Matt Stanley won't pay for his airfare, and there were a few problems with quarantining, so that's why we drew it next. And I mean, I must admit, I thought Ryan Harris might have been a little bit of a better choice, but Gav, you're up there.
Well, if you went off speed of bowlers, well, then I'm probably a bit quicker than Ryan.
Yeah.
I don't really like to say it in public, but I will quickly.
And certainly bowled a better in-swinger than your Harris's.
Self-praise is no praise, but yeah, you're right. Thank you very much.
So that's the right result, because initially the few people that we talked about coming and stopping in the room, it's obviously a twin room, we're not going to be chopping and tailing, Gav, but I did think I'd have to get my earplugs out if there were a few other people put in the ring with Joe Beneducci and Matt Hope, and those people who are always in the annual who can snore the longest and loudest competition in England.
Well, I've roomed with Benny on a few trips, and he's definitely in the top 3. Where did we go for Scott's Stamp do? I were in the same room as Beneducci and Agden, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and I thought there was something wardrobing off. Unbelievable. Every time he breathed in, my bed inched a little bit forward. Like holding on to head rail for shit. Unbelievable.
That's interesting you say that, Gav, because Matt, my brother, snores like a trooper. And I've slept in the same room as Dooch as well. I don't know which trip it was on Dooch. And Dooch warned me before even brought me some plugs. But Dooch was a silent assassin. Matt was one that went roof's coming off, and then he'd turn over and you'd have 20 minutes sleep, then he'd start again. Whereas Dooch, you were like, when the Germans used to drip water on your head till it kill you. That's what more like Dooch. So
and if he gets something, has it?
Yeah, says it into him. You'll be able to
can we get this back on topic at all? I mean, our listeners are not really interested in snoring actors.
About you snoring. But no, it'll be a good day. So what we'll need to do, we haven't got a plan yet, Gav, but we're going to have a little bit of recordings for the podcast. I think Joe Martin's going to try and get over at some stage and sit with us for a bit, so we can just audio record a few of the activities, and then they can all go. I mean, you can have a few extra pints and then go on our merry ways on the Friday. So congratulations, Gav. I'm really chuffed that you're coming along.
No, that's great. I really appreciate it, and thanks very much. No, that's great. You're more
than welcome. We drew it out of the red generator at Joe Martin's ball site.
Out of interest, what number were I?
32. Yeah.
Oh, just like me, we waist in inches.
Sorry.
Out of order. Next time I see a Joe Diff.
Why did you have to say inches? It won't be centimetres, will it?
Very true. Very true.
Very true.
Thank you to our 4 sponsors for supporting our podcast: Johnny Russell's Art Caterers and Middleton Pies, Alexander Grace Law, Kezs and Lisa's Spoonful of Sweets, and SPE Furnishings. Links to their websites are available in the show notes and on our website. Don't forget to subscribe to get all the latest episodes as soon as they're released.
Join us down west in tight pants.
Right, we're going to move on. By all means, Gav, stop in. We've only got a few bits and bats to do. You can have a listen in and contribute. We'd like that if you're up for it.
Yeah, well, I've got nothing else planned. I'm not out with Sally Army tonight, so yeah, I can stop on for an extra bit.
Do. Yeah, do that. Well, what we'll do is, because we started talking about news within the league, just have a little work through the great news that 2 of our youngsters have been selected for the Lancs League under-18 side. I think they're playing. Do you know anything about that, Joe Martin? Is it at Micklehurst or somewhere?
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Sunday. This Sunday, the 8th.
Yeah, it's this Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, at Micklehurst, and they play in the Greater Manchester League. So well done to George and Henry. That's a fantastic achievement. Other things that have happened. I don't know what you three think about the Kezs wickets that he's got. That is unbelievable, isn't it? He's 1,800 and something wickets that he's got. That's some achievement, that, isn't it? It's unbelievable. It works out. I think he made his debut when he was 16, and what is he now? About 62. And it's 30 odd wickets every year for all them years.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think he played some years, Jess. I think he went pro in somewhere, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He missed 2 or 3 years. He went playing in Newcastle. I know that's a fantastic achievement. So well done, Kezs. Brought a 92-year record within the Lancashire League. And then the other one, which is it opened my eyes again. We keep hearing it, but it disappears from time to time. The league is struggling for umpires, and they're appealing for more umpires to come back. It's interesting, isn't it? What's your take on that as a player, Joe Martin?
I think it's worrying, to say the least, because without them we can't play. So I think that maybe I don't really know what the answer is either. Because
who are the recent recruits who are ex-players in the current umpire lot? You've got Proc, haven't you, from Rishton?
Yeah, Proc from Rishton.
Yeah. Mark Clayton did it, didn't he? But he packed in after a few years.
That was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, he retired. He stopped doing it after a game that me and Joe played at church.
That Cross, isn't there? He used to play at Lancs, Parry's mate.
Yeah, Gareth Cross. And I think Dibber started umpiring, but I don't know whether he still does it.
No.
The only others of recent ones I can remember is Nick Westwell's probably the one before that.
Yeah, Westy and Kenny Ferguson. Yeah, Pancash did it.
Tony Woodworth.
Yeah. Tony. But I think we're talking, except for, Nick doesn't umpire anymore. Tony doesn't umpire anymore.
No.
I always thought Nick were a good umpire. I was disappointed when he packed in.
Yeah. He was a very good umpire. Bernard Reedy. He was a good umpire, but doesn't do it anymore.
No, it is a shame. Is the behaviour of the players, because obviously a lot more players are getting banned now, but they didn't have that type of punishment, I don't think, when I was really young playing, and even I think when Gav, started playing, there weren't people banned as much as they are now. Is the behaviour causing some of the issues with umpires packing in, do you think? I know it's a hot topic, but it's there.
I think so. When I've spoken to some umpires, I was speaking to an umpire at Middleton when I was playing for the MCC the other week, and he was saying he's put more reports in this year than he has in the previous 8.
Right.
Which is worrying, I think, as well.
Yeah, it is.
Because you're going to get to a stage where there's going to be no umpires. Some umpires have a thick skin and they don't care. But for others, it's a way to stay involved in the game and to stay engaged with it. And so therefore, I think that it's a real shame if player behaviour is putting them off. Because it's not. For me, it's not worth it. I don't know. I might have different thoughts to other people on how we're supposed to play cricket, but it's not,
I know what you're saying. I mean, we're no angels, you're right. You know,
no, we're not.
As a club, we've had players that have been banned, and I'd like to think that we are quite harsh on them now. Stan is certainly, he supports the exec committees and he's instigated bans before it's even gone to the committees. With the backing of our directors. But I've got to admit, I watched the whole game on Sunday, and there was unsavoury moments there as just as a spectator sat watching. Some of the language that was going around. We've got kids and women, and the attitude of some of the players there I thought was quite deplorable. Well, Gav, what's your thoughts on it? You were watching for the last couple of years.
Exactly. Yeah. I agree with what you were just saying there. I think the league have to take a bit of responsibility and not coming hard enough down on clubs, if I'm honest, because it's all right saying we've banned more players than ever and stuff like that, or not. I don't mean us as a club. I mean the league. There's more players than in years gone by, but it doesn't do anything to stop the behaviour. And I've watched quite a few games this year, and you have people appealing from sweeping on boundary and stuff like that, or shouting abuse and stuff like that. I don't get wrong. We've all played in games where it's got a bit lively, and we're all amateurs and fair, but it's almost like 50 overs. It's ridiculous, and I can imagine the majority of umpires, they are older gents, and they won't want to put up with that. And I do think the league have to support them more, and because and you see some sort, you see the league exec walking around ground. Well, what are they deaf? They can, they can hear what's going on. So why don't they do something about it?
I think that there needs to be. I mean, it's evident that probably some of the bans aren't a particular deterrent anymore.
Exactly.
If you have a 2-game ban, I think they just say, all right, fine, fair enough. Whereas, they might potentially need to look into maybe some different kind of consequences if they've been reported by umpires, and that. And I'm not sort of speaking from like an ivory tower, because if it happened to us, we should also face the same.
Yeah. And we have done with the bans, haven't we? We have done with the bans, and I do think we do take it very, very seriously. But that on Sunday, in fact, most of the swearing and shouting were the Walsden players falling out with each other. Honestly, Gav, it was bizarre. There were 2 or 3 different rows between each other. That was the full length of the field. But Dooch, what's your thoughts on it? I know you're looking after our first team and the senior sides. I know it's a difficult topic, but.
Listen, I won't be against the introduction of some harsher penalties, but the problem will be, as it is with all things like this, is the consistency. You will always get players who are more willing to report stuff than others. Ben will tell you now. He'll look down the umpires list and he'll know which ones already, who are the ones who he's going to, have on any given day, or who the ones are lenient stuff. So you could have the same incident on 2 different grounds that one player gets banned and one player doesn't. So that's
difficult.
Introducing something, and I think something should be done, but I think it's the consistency that needs to be worked on, because umpires, some of them are more willing to take action than others.
And also it is like different penalties and things like that. End of day, especially with last 80 months of that, clubs with more skin to than ever, some of them. So you don't really want to be imposing like financial fines, because what's the point in that? Because they don't have
there's no point.
Any money to start with. So
no, there's no point in that. It's
exactly. So
I mean, let's see. Yeah, it is, and it's like we've discussed before about various things. We sometimes seem to forget it's such a good standard. It's played to a professional level, and yet the vast majority of people who compete, and I include the umpires in that, are amateurs and are not. Do these umpires who are getting paid 2 and 6 want to go home and sit at a computer for 2 hours typing out a long slavering report, knowing when they're going to get slated for it? So it is difficult, and I feel for the exec as well. But I I just wonder if more of an independent type body to look at it, as completely away from the umpires, and support the umpires, I guess.
I think there might be potential, Kezs, for a different kind of reporting system.
Yeah.
Where it's probably not, the onus isn't put on the umpires to report things.
Yeah.
Potentially, if it was captains reporting incidents and then looking for support from umpires, rather than the onus being on an umpire to report it, you might actually then get more consistent. Because if an umpire has heard something and a captain reports it, then you've got some kind of internal reliability there. If a captain reports something and an umpire says, "Well, I didn't hear it,"
it didn't happen or whatever. Yeah.
I think the problem with that is if you get two teams that go at each other and they both behave like idiots.
Yeah, but then
they're not going to report each other, are they? They're going to come to an agreement after the game and say about what he said.
Yeah,
it's difficult, and we could debate it forever. It'd be interesting to see what the listeners think, and by all means, put your views through on Twitter, or we can have a further discussion on it. Because we don't want to get too deep and too heavy about all this. Let's just have a little look at our list. We're going to start looking more at the second team and the third team and the fourth team. We do have 4 senior teams now that play most weekends and are doing really well, and it's played in the right way with the right age group of people. So we're going to probably get the likes of Stan on to tell us about some of the third and fourth 11 scores and outstanding performances and fixtures, etc. I'll just talk through. I don't know if any of you three are aware of this. The Settings beat Walsden on Sunday by a whopping 130. Agger's got 40. It sounded like he had a steady start and laid the foundations down, and then the young lad Joel Sharp came in and got 60 off in no time, 60 off 45 balls. How old is he, Joe? How old is young Sharper? 16. Yeah, he just keeps getting those scores, doesn't he? And looks to be a very positive type player.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing, one of the things for me is I think when I've spoken to Joe about it, obviously I've known Joel for a long time. But he's into the second team. He actually came from nowhere, I would say. He probably wasn't in Matt's thoughts early on, but has taken his chance really well. And I think that's a real good message for all the other kind of junior cricketers at the club.
Yeah.
To say, if you work, and Joel works really hard at his game. If you work hard at your game and you get a chance, and you're lucky enough to take it, then you'll be rewarded for that as well. But I think when young cricketers do really well, I think it should be celebrated because there's enough sort of doom and gloom around. So I think it's brilliant that he's doing so well.
I agree. And you look at that side, the side that was picked on Sunday, he and Duke spoke about it. It's a strong side, that.
It is. It's a very strong side. And I think in the last, I mean, people like Henry didn't even bowl, and he's performed brilliantly in the first team. So it just shows the strength of the youngsters coming through, and also the strength of the team in general. And all the options, because I don't think Matt bowled either, actually, and he's pretty much bowled every week. So it shows that we're moving in the right direction with the second team, and it's really pleasing.
Yeah, it is. It's fantastic. And you look at Joel, he's 306 runs at 61 this year, an average of 61, a strike rate of 129 for a 16-year-old. That's fantastic. We had a bit of a giggle on Sunday about it, didn't we, Dooch? We were talking about him, how well he'd done, and we were seeing the scores that come through, and we were chatting, how old or young do you need to be to start pushing that first team door because, of what you're doing. And were it Matt Stanley who said, I don't know about pushing our first team door, he'll be playing for Chennai Super Kings next year. I'd be able to carry on scoring at the next he's doing. It was,
but not in the 100, Kezs.
No, not in the 100. We can't do the 100 because that's no good. So they're all, the settings did a great job there. Like Joe said, the bowlers bowled Walsden out for next to nothing. So that's everything from me around the second team. Is there anything from the two Joes around the other teams, the junior teams? Anything you can tell us?
I just think I think with Gav being on, actually, I don't know. I obviously don't spend a lot of time in the second team. I train with all the players and stuff, but I'm not in the dressing room or anything like that. But it sort of seems to me like it's a similar atmosphere to when I went into the second team and Gav was the manager, and it seems a really positive place where we're going to be really pushing first team cricketers, which is the job really of the second team, isn't it? And producing those second team players like Gav did in those, when he was manager with Paul Stanley.
Yeah, and I think you'll agree, Gavin, if no matter how old they are, if they're getting the runs, and there's a space for them, they should push into that. Do you remember those days, Gav, when you were out there looking after a young cheeky Joe Martin?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it's the old saying, isn't it? If they're good enough, they're old enough, and you're only going to find out, and that's by giving them a go. But it's good. I mean, when you're in bar after a game, and you're talking about the game, and that it's good. It's good to sit second team there. There's a good group of them now. And they're all having a laugh, and they are all mates, and it's good to see. Actually, it's good for a club. It's good and healthy for a club. It really is. It's good to see.
Yeah.
They're good 6 on the bounce for seconds.
Yeah.
It's
brilliant. Absolutely fantastic.
Second team, losing players week in, week out when your first team are calling him up. That's good performance.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Like we said, we've got to, we're not going to do, we might do a preview next week. We'll see how this weekend's games go, but we've got the final week on Sunday at Clitheroe. Tickets available from behind the bar, and I think there's still some spaces left on the coaches. So if people want to get over to Clitheroe to support the boys, and then let's get booked in. I've just one more topic at the end of this. I want to run it by Gav because I'm a little bit disgusted in it. But is there anything else from Joe Martin before we move on?
Nothing from me.
No, Dooch? No, Gav. I'm just going to run a little scenario by you. I went a little trip to Walsden last week.
Okay.
It wasn't a boozy trip. It was a case of last minute. I'm just going to go over. I drove over and had a lovely 5 or 6 hours with Joe Menaducci and Matt Stanley, and Joe Martin sat with us. And then someone around us opened a bottle of something that I've never ever seen in my life. A bottle of non-alcoholic gin.
Right, see you later, lads. I'm logging off.
Can you believe it?
No, I can't. I'm absolutely disgusted. They should be banished from the. If we want our lot, Lowerhouse Number, they should be banished from the club.
I've already wrote a strongly worded email to the directors, and it wasn't just that, Gav. They were almost like bullying it up, like it was, really the in thing. It looked an expensive bottle. It was possibly a batch, I'm not sure, from that place in Burnley that makes gin. Probably 25, 30 quid. And they even had Fever Tree tonic, which goes, I do like a gin and tonic before my tea, but Fever Tree tonic, that is top of the range. And these two ladies are sat there drinking this, pretending it's all right.
Speechless, utterly speechless.
Absolutely speechless. What's your thoughts on it, Joe Martin? Would you have a non-alcoholic gin and tonic?
Well, I don't drink, but I would say
you
might as well just have a Robinson's, I guess.
A Robinson's. Yeah, so the people the ladies who are drinking it knew who they are, so maybe they should come on and defend themselves on one of our future podcasts. Right, I have nothing else from this fortnightly podcast. Anything else from you, Gav? Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it, and thanks for trying your best to get there next Thursday. Anything you want to
add? No, just to say thanks very much for inviting me on the trip, and really looking forward to it. And
good.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Thanks very much. Good. Really appreciate it.
We'll have a riot, I've no doubt. Dooch, anything before we close up? No, you're all sorted. Joe Martin?
I would just like to say I'd like to get Gav on more often.
Right. Okay. Then
do a review of 100 game, maybe. Get him on.
The world's shortest podcast.
You'd have to have a bleep machine and it'd be over in 5 minutes.
Good lad. Right, thanks everyone. Don't forget to subscribe and like our the Twitter feed and get other people to listen in. Thanks everyone for listening and goodbye.
Walsden, send Morehouse to save the house.